everyone, welcome to a Yogi's Diary. Today's diary entry is a tutorial on Sun Salutations or Surya Namaskar. Now this is a very special entry for me for two reasons. The first being that what I'm about to teach you is something that has been an integral part of my own yoga practice and my journey since the time I started. And the second reason is that this is the first tutorial that I'm putting up for this channel. Now, according to Hindu mythology, the sun god or Surya Dev is a symbol of health or immortal life, and the sun salutations originated as a series of prostrations to the sun god. So what exactly is a sun salutation? A sun salutation is a graceful sequence of 12 asanas or positions that are practiced in one continuous movement. Each of these positions is coordinated with a breath, and in some schools of yoga, each of these positions is also coordinated with a mantra that celebrates a special quality of the sun god. Now, every school of yoga or every style of yoga teaches this particular sun salutation in a slightly different way. And the style that I'm going to be teaching you today is the traditional Hatha style of Surya Namaskar. One round of Surya Namaskar or Sun Salutation has two sequences, the right side and the left side, which I'll just explain to you in a bit. Now, ideally, the Sun Salutation should be practiced on an empty stomach, first thing in the morning, facing a rising sun. But that's not always possible, so feel free to practice this whenever you have some time. So if you're ready, let's begin. So standing up and coming over to the front of your mat. Now, as I said, there are 12 positions. I'm going to be teaching you one entire round. The first half, that is the right side that I'm going to show you, is going to be an explanation to each of those 12 positions. And the second half will be a little faster, the left side, where I will teach you the breath that is coordinated with each of these movements. So for the first position, you're going to bring your palms together in a prayer position like this. Place your hands at your heart. Think of a hook lifting you up, so really lengthen your spine, lengthen your neck, relax your shoulders down and away from the earlobes. Now your feet should be together and spread out your toes in a way that you have a broader base to stand on. So imagine you shouldn't move at all. That's how stable you should be in this position. So this is my first position. For the second position, the way I like to teach it is that imagine you have paint on your fingertips and you're standing inside a circular room, or you have a circular wall over you. Together, you're going to let your arms down and then you're going to reach your arms parallel, palms facing each other, keep them parallel throughout. And imagine you're painting this wall with your fingertips. As you reach forward for the wall in front of you, then you reach up to the ceiling, and then finally reach back for the wall behind you. Now this is a backward bending asana. If you want to really deepen this arch that I just showed you, there are three things that you need to focus on. The first, you want to move your hips as forward as you can. So think of taking your buttocks as forward as you can. The second, when you drop your head back, drop it back confidently, keeping your shoulders open. What I mean is, don't restrict your neck movement, let it just go all the way back. And the third, think of reaching back with your arms in a parallel, straight-armed position. Because if you bend your elbows, you're not going to get that length with the body. Now, for those of you who have vertigo or feel a certain amount of pain or strain in your neck when you drop your head back, you don't have to drop your head back. What I'm just showing you is an optimum way of reaching this position, but you can always look forward. You don't always have to arch that much. It comes with practice. You can even just do this. Also, some people like to get their palms together, which is a great way of doing this position, simply because it deepens your stretch a little bit more. So you can always reach back with your palms together or keep them parallel. So I'm going to keep them parallel. Now for the third position, you're going to paint that wall again. So go forward and reach for the wall in front of you in such a manner that when I'm about halfway down to the mat, my back and my arms are absolutely straight. It's very common that I see people just going down like this. You want to really make use of this a round of sun salutation to stretch your body out, stretch out your muscles, get a full range of motion around your tendons and your joints. So really reach forward all the way and then continue going all the way down. Bring your hands by the side of your feet. Now if you like, you can stay on your fingertips, or you can bring your hands flat on the mat. So when you look at your nails, you should see 20 nails in one straight line, and then relax your forehead down and bring it as close to your knees as you can. Now what this does is, when you drop your head down, is it's also lengthening the back of your neck, or your vertebrae in your neck. Now a lot of people find it difficult to keep their legs absolutely straight, so it's perfectly fine to bend your knees to whichever amount you want, and keep the head down. The next position is that you're going to take your right foot behind you. So I'm doing the right side, and hence my right leg is going to go back, and when I'm about to finish the round, my right foot will come forward again. So it's the right side. Now for this position, the few things that you need to check out are, let's start with the hands. You can stay on your fingertips or on your palms depending on how flexible you feel. The second thing, make sure that your front knee is at a 90-degree angle. Now you would have noticed that in a lot of pictures of Surya Namaskar, you'll notice that people have their knees forward. This is another way of doing it, but over the years of my practice and teaching, I've just realized that constantly doing this puts a lot of pressure on your knees. So if you want to play safe, it's much better to have this knee at a 90-degree angle. Now, the third thing you want to watch for is your chest. You want your chest to move forward like this and roll your shoulders back. The next thing I'm going to talk about is the head. Ideally, your head should be up because you want to give a nice backward bending arch over here, a backward bending arch, right? And if you can't do this, again, for the same reason like the second position where I told you, if you feel a lot of strain in your neck, you don't have to. You can always look forward. That's fine as well. But really focus on moving your chest as forward as you can. Now the next thing you want to focus on is your leg over here. Now the right leg, ideally, most people I've noticed have a tendency to just stop over here. But the further back you go, the more you open your hip joints up. So try and walk your knee and your foot as far back as you can. And then focus on lowering your hips down towards the mat, or think of bringing your right thigh as close to the mat as you can. So this really helps to open up your hip joint. And then this is the position that you should ideally be in. The next position is that you're going to curl your toes, lift this leg and take your left leg back, coming into a high plank or a push-up position. Now ideally, from the top of your head down to your heel, your body should be in one straight line. By which I mean, you want to avoid your hips coming down. You want to avoid your hips going up like this. So stay absolutely flat. And what helps in this position is drawing your abdomen in. So think of drawing your navel in and up towards your spine. Broaden out your shoulders and think of a long neck extending out of your body. Don't drop the head, but look forward. The next position is called the Ashtanga Namaskar position, and it is something that, at least what I have noticed when I've taught, is that I would say about 70% of the people find it really difficult to do. So I'm going to show you two options. The first is the actual one and how to do that. So from here, you're going to drop your knees down. Curl your toes, move your buttocks back just a little bit, and then start to bend your elbows in such a manner that you bring your chest and your chin down towards the mat. Now if you notice, my abdomen is completely off the mat, and now this is I said, it's not something that's accessible to everyone. So what is the other option? So if you're in this position, from here, just come all the way down and point your toes away. All right. And then of course, with practice, you'll slowly get a hang of it and you will be able to eventually come down into this position. So I'm going to use a little push from my toes at the back, slide forward, bring that abdomen onto the mat and lift my chest up. Feet are together, toes are pointing away. If you have a weak lower back or any kind of tightness in your back, you're always free to keep your feet apart as much as your hip width. And then relax your shoulders away from the ears. Bring your elbows close to the body and look up. Now you might be wondering why I'm so low while I'm doing low in my cobra. And the reason is that I'm trying not to use my arm strength, but I'm really working on using the strength of my back to do the cobra. Now I'll show you the difference with what I mean. So if you end up doing this, like this, which is what a lot of people do, you're actually using your shoulders and your arms to come up over here. As against when you just lift up, and if I asked you to lift your hands, you'll still be in that same position. You're using your back muscles to do the job. If you still want to lift up higher, spread out your fingers and push into the mat, but keep your elbows bent and shoulders away from the ears. So those are your two options for the cobra. The next position, curl your toes, push down with your hands and go up into an inverted V position. Now in this position, my feet are slightly separate. I'm allowing my head and chest to come down towards the mat. I'm spreading out my fingers without putting too much pressure on the heel of the palm. So you want to press into your fingertips. Move your shoulders away from the ears. Draw your abdomen in and lift the hips up towards the ceiling. You don't have to really struggle to get your heels down. If they touch the mat, great. If they don't, it's perfectly fine to just focus on keeping those knees straight. Now, we had done the right leg, which means we took the right leg back. So we're going to be bringing the right foot forward again. So look forward, take a big step with your right foot and bring it all the way forward to your right hand, next to your right hand. Now this again we come back into a similar position that we just did before, wherein you can stay on your fingertips, the front knee is at 90-degree angle, my left leg is as far back as I can keep it, focusing on lowering my left thigh down towards the mat. Roll your shoulders back, chest forward, head up. Now, in this position, again, a very common observation that I've noticed is that a lot of people find it difficult to bring their foot all the way forward. Now, there are many reasons for that, but let's not get into that. I'm just going to give you an option. So what you can do is, if you know you have to bring your right leg forward, drop the opposite knee, that is your left knee, down on the mat. Then bring your right foot forward. Still, you might notice that the foot doesn't come all the way forward next to your right hand. So what you can do is crawl your foot forward or lift it at the ankle and bring it forward. So you've reached this position. Next position, curl your toes, take a big step and bring your left foot forward as well. And we come back again into that forward fold, into that forward bend where you have 20 nails in one line, knees bent or straight, depends on your flexibility. But keep your forehead as close to the knees as you can. Now, paint on my fingertips. I'm ready to paint that circular wall again. So inhale, reach your arms forward. Sorry, I'm going to move back. Reach your arms forward. Lift up towards the ceiling. Reach your arms as far back as you can. Move the hips forward. Drop your head back confidently. And then slowly come back to the last position. So these were the 12 positions of the, of a half a round that I've done. Now I'm going to do the second half and I'm going to show you the breath that goes with each position. So this side now is going to be a bit faster because I'm not going to get into the details of the position. So here you will inhale and you will exhale, everything through the nose. Inhale as you reach your arms forward, up and back. Exhale as you paint that wall and bring your hands down. Keep exhaling till your hands come down. Inhale, take your left foot, we're doing the left side now. Bring your knee down and move the chest forward. Now, this is the only position where I'm actually going to hold the breath. So I inhaled and I took my leg back. I hold that breath inside my body and I take my right leg back to come into that push-up position. And this is the only position where you will hold the breath inside the body. Then as you exhale, drop your knees down, chest down, chin down. Inhale, slide forward and come into the cobra. Exhale, come into your inverted V position, looking at your feet. Inhale, take a big step with your left foot, bring it all the way forward. Bring that opposite knee down, point your toes away. Exhale, take a big step, bring your right foot forward, forehead comes down towards the knees. Inhale, take a deep breath, stretch your arms forward, up, all the way back. Exhale and release. So that was one complete round. Now I'm just going to show you a few modifications that you can make in every position. Some of them I've already spoken about, but let's just go through it. So for the first position, I think this is something which is quite simple and most people can do it. The second position, when you're reaching back, you have a few options. Some people might not be able to arch as much, so it's perfectly fine to even end here or here or here, here. You'll gradually get there with practice. Third one, remember to keep your back very straight as you come down and come all the way down. Fourth position, it's perfectly fine to keep your knees bent and start with your practice like this. If you have absolute straight legs, make sure that those 20 nails are in line. You're not on your fingertips in this position. You have to be pressing your fingers into the mat and the forehead comes down. The next position, taking your leg back. Now this is for people who have pain in their knees when they do quite a few rounds. So always feel free to take a towel, fold it up, or take a cushion, or maybe even fold up this mat like this, and comes exactly where your knees are. But I think ideally I would suggest taking a towel, folding it up and placing it exactly over here where your knees will come each time. So you always have something to cushion that that knee down below. So sorry, where were we? Yeah, so you take your right leg back, all right, and then for the next position you come into a plank. Now in the plank, very common mistakes are that the hips are up or down. As long as you're aware of it and you're slowly working on it, you'll gradually get there into a straight plank. Think of allowing your abdomen to help you, so you just draw your navel in and that sort of helps. Think of broad shoulders. Coming down into Ashtanga Namaskar, if this is not possible, like I said, just come all the way down. If you can't lift all the way up here, it's perfectly fine to reach up to a point where you can lift your hands. If you can't keep your heels together, it's perfectly fine to keep your feet hip width wide. Next is your downward facing dog, which I think will be accessible to most people. It should not be a problem. Yes, you might find it difficult to go as low as I'm going, but it's perfectly fine to be even over here as long as you're looking at your feet. Then again, when you bring your foot forward, make sure if your knee is something that's going to hurt, have a little padding or cushioning over there for that knee. Then you bring your other foot forward, relax your head, and then we go back the same way and release. So just a few modifications that I wanted to go over and options that you can explore depending on how stiff or flexible your body is. So the great thing about Sun Salutations is that you can practice as many rounds as you like. You can make a session of just doing Sun Salutations. It's a great cardio. It's a great warm-up to a more longer and intense yoga session. So you can do it by itself or you can do it as a warm-up for another session. I would suggest start with 3 rounds if you're a beginner and gradually increase it. Do not worry about what speed you should be doing it at. There are various speeds. You can go really slow and make it nice and meditative, or you can make it fast and make it a nice cardio workout. Hope you enjoyed this session. If you haven't subscribed to the channel, please do subscribe, like the video, share it. I do Sun Salutation challenges pretty often, so feel free to participate in them and keep practicing. Stay healthy, stay happy.